So, the shop's a mess. Floor's terrible. Gotta clean all that mess up. Sawdust and wood shavings and everything else. And there's some work I should do on the bike. I have the opportunity to put a better luggage system on it than currently is. That, and I am procrastinating about continuing with the paint work on the face of this doll. So, I'll set you up in the stand, and I'm going to start working on the bike slash trike slash mobility scooter electrical conveyance vehicle. Alright? Alright. So, she's back in to be worked on. I get the distinct impression, I'm going to measure and check, but I think this luggage rack, this helmet box, is a little bit bigger than that one. I think the black matches the aesthetic of the bike a bit better too. Also, this thing might likely be able to mount right here, which would allow me a little more capacity in my ability to carry groceries home. So, we're going to work on that. First thing is going to be measuring that and then taking it off. Though it is a better aesthetic match, this is not in fact bigger than this one. It might actually be a little bit smaller. Too much work, change it anyway. Okay, so that stays as it is. Let's see if we can mount that carrier basket on the front here. I have to prep the basket anyway, so I'll start taking it apart. And as you can see, I do still have tons of spare parts floating around. Might want to switch those mirrors someday, but that'll just be for look. Ones I got function fine. Okay, so we've got this little assembly which needs to be pulled off, and this little assembly which needs to be pulled off. And this one requires an Allen key, and this one requires a wrench. Oh, let's get a wrench. There we go, a wrench. Don't need a big fuck-off wrench for this. You can just use a little fuck-off wrench. So those just come off, and then when they're off, I'll show you what it looks like. These just require an Allen key to take them off, so I'll take it apart and I'll show you what it looks like. It took far longer than I rightly should have. But this to mount about there. See, I could bolt it directly to the structure of the fairing there, but I don't think it'll look good on an angle like that. I want it to sit level. About there. So the idea I got these rods that were supporting it from underneath. Instead of supporting it from underneath and mounting to the side there, I was thinking running them here. Mounting like that. Bolt them in that way. And building a bracket of some kind here to sit it on. That'd be multiple points of contact, etc., etc. I could also mount it like that. Doesn't quite get it level though, you know. I want it to sit like that, not like this. So, along that bar, strap it in, level it, bolt it direct to the fairing. Same as I did with the fenders on the back. But, yeah. I'm thinking that, and I gotta figure out a bracket underneath to mount it. Possibly a strap from here going around around the neck. Just a strap to pull it up. I think that might be the plan. So what are we going to do to make something that goes across here, goes up and bolts on here? Need a bracket of some kind. What do we got for brackets? Bits and pieces of scrap metal. A bracket. What kind of junk we got under here? Nothing of particular note or use. How about on this pile? We got a hinge, but that's a hinge. That's not a bracket. I need something to sit it flat, not let it swing. So, if I have a shelving bracket somewhere in here, that might be of use. A door plate. I could potentially take this long strap off of the hinge and flatten it out to use, but yeah. I'm thinking anything in this bucket? Well, other than stuff I just dropped on the ground. What do we got in this bucket? Just bolts. Okay, so that's out. That back where it belongs, or at least where I put it. And pick up the pieces I dropped. Put those back where they belong. There's another reason I have to clean in here. It's a constant mess, and I prefer to be able to find everything. I don't need to light a torch anytime soon, so that's not in the immediate use. I was looking for that wire recently. Okay, I'll have a dig around. And see what I got. Do I need cotter pins? No. What's in this box? Electrical stuff. Alright, so nothing good. I'll dig around and see what I got. And just maybe find something useful. Well, here's what happened. In my infinite wisdom, I decided, there's this bunch of stuff I'm never going to use. So I took it and threw it in a scrap pile back. Luckily, I didn't throw it in a scrap pile outside because that scrap metal got hauled away. So anyway, I dug through my proverbial pile of shit. Found two potential pieces here. This one, which could be bent at these points here, mounted that way to hold the thing up, like that, just bent, which would be a great idea. Otherwise, potentially this, which that looks like it's going to be a lot of work. So I'll put that in a vise over here. I'll bend everything to a usable degree. We'll see what happens next. I'll try these ones first, just to see how it bends. If it bends, if anything works, hopefully. Okay, it bends. Is it going to bend enough and in a particularly useful way? Don't know yet. But we'll give it a shot. Remember that grandpa proverb about having a bigger hammer? Well, I might need it. if I have a hollow steel pipe, wrap it over that and just push it. If I had a hollow steel pipe, which I may or may not. But I do know it bends. So that's a step. Brute force ain't gonna do it. I need more brute force. So back to that proverb about having a bigger hammer. Now she's moving. Okay, I'll beat this into submission and bring it back when it's ready. Right, fuck? Right, fuck. Let's get some screws and mount this thing in place. Oh. I neglected to compensate for the curve of that surface in front of the bike, so I'm going to have to take the little fuck off wrench and bend these flats so they're a little angled. Let's see how that works. Twisting the metal rather than just bending it. May or may not require a bigger fuck off wrench if I'm going to do this. Hopefully not. Yeah, that does it. Do the other side. Almost screwed in place. Let's check, make sure that works. Your first hole is ready, lined up. There it is, and that sits very well. Okay, so I do the same thing to the other side. It'll sit flat, and then I can screw it on. Step in the right direction, or it's a step in a direction anyway. Now, we can mount that to the bottom. Easy enough, and it sits level, and that's great. Figure out how to mount these rods to the basket itself. Once they're on the basket itself, that's fine. Just mount it to the, or, hey, look at that. It'll run straight. We can mount it on that and with the bend. That works. Just got to mount them. Okay, now how am I going to mount these to the basket? That's the interesting bit here. How do I mount these to the basket once I get the basket mounted to the rack? I mean, mounting the basket to the rack's no problem, just a nut. Well, a screw and a nut, but yeah. Or do I do them this way? From the top up to this rod. And I can't mount this, that's what turns. But I can mount them to... No, there's a lot of work going on there already. I don't want to overwork those panels for the weight. So, goes on there, it goes to here. Might have to bend those a little bit. It's not too bad. Not too bad. I might have to bend that back end a little bit to get it to go in. But I just have to find a way to strap it together. If that's where that's going to go. The other side's going to be identical. Mount there. Just underneath here. I just got to bend these slightly. That could be done with a vise. I don't even need a wrench for that. So bend these a little bit. Give them a little bit less angle on them. I'll figure out how to strap the basket to the rods. I'm going to bolt the basket to the rack. That's not too bad looking. I mean, it's a mobility scooter, but it's not too bad looking. I'm going to be able to carry, half again the amount of groceries I was able to carry before, so that's not bad. I'm happy with that. Okay, I'll bend these buggers. See how things go after that. So, got these lined up where they need to be. I have to pull them to the side tight. Luckily, I don't need any wrenches or anything for that. Got a bag of zip ties. Makes life infinitely easier when you're prepared for all this shit. What size zip ties do I need? The little ones should do it. Yeah, little ones. Little short fuckers. They don't need to hold a lot of weight or pressure. They just gotta pull this thing to the side a little bit. So, pull it where it needs to be. Put the tension on it. There, that's one. I'll double them after the fact, but one on each side is about what I need. Yeah, go one size up with them. A little bigger is probably a little better. That'll do it. Let's cut off the excess when I need to. If I don't need to yet, I won't bother. There. That ain't gonna fall. Alright, so it now sits where it's supposed to be. The rods line up roughly where they're supposed to be. I can bend them in places necessary. I can bend everything in places necessary. So that's where it's going to sit. I'll get ready to drill and bolt those in. And I'll figure out how I'm going to mount this. Oh, there it goes. How I'm going to mount this there. And again, I say that don't look too bad. Looks very, working. Okay. Well, I'm going to figure out a bolting plate. Hey, look, a bolting plate that I can use to mount this thing. To this frame. So that's a bolting plate. And that's the other half of the bolting plate. Would you look at that? I can just bolt it straight down. Right there. Yeah, that'll work. I'll put that on, figure those out, and show you when it's done. It ain't pretty. Definitely ain't pretty. But it's as solid as the rest of the bike is, which ain't saying much. And the upside, other than finally getting one more part out of the shop, a little more capacity for groceries on this thing now, which is a big advantage. And I fill the basket on the front and the box on the back. One of these days I am going to break out a can of white spray paint I have somewhere as soon as I find it, and I'm going to white those fenders down now to yellow. What I might do outside of that is, because of splashback, I do still get a little bit on my ankles from the wheels here, from when they splash, it splashes under. So what I might do is take a sheet of plastic, probably a piece of bucket bolted in across here, and make a V bolted in across here. Just cover that little angle. Probably be a good thing to do. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm going to see if I got room to turn this bitch around. I probably don't, but I'll give it a try. Get it turned around, get it back outside, get it locked up to the post on the porch like it's supposed to be. Okay, talk to you next time.